Good evening, San Diego. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis, and thank you for tuning in for your CBS 8 Plus weather update. Basking in the sunshine again today, and here's the thing. We are warmer than usual today. We're not done with the heat just yet. We are still holding on to warm temperatures by tomorrow, and that actually is going to widen the gap just a little bit more. Now we're talking by tomorrow, 15 to 25 degrees above seasonal for this time of the year. So definitely not talking about anything normal as we wrap up February. So going into the end of this month, well, for the last Thursday of the month, we had 70s as well as 80s west of the mountains. 84 degrees today for Ramona, 73 degrees for downtown. For Ramona and across the inland valleys all the way to the mountains and the desert, you were talking about daytime highs that were about 10 to 20 degrees above seasonal for this time of the year. About 5 to 10 closer towards the coast and also impacting for downtown. And that brought widespread 70s right there along the North County coastline. You also had those widespread 80s across the inland valleys. We were at 87 degrees today for Valley Center, 83 degrees for La Mesa, also 84 degrees for Jamul, and 90s back in the desert with those 70s across the mountains. For your overnight lows, temperatures will drop. Still widespread with the 50s, but then we also have some 60s added to that. 62 degrees for Vista, the same for Fallbrook, also 64 degrees for Poway, and 64 degrees for Borrego Springs. So starting off the morning on the cool side naturally, but we are not going to be into the chilly zone where we've had those 40s and 30s for overnight lows. That was last week. Now you have daytime highs tomorrow as the heat intensifies just a little bit more. That potentially could be some record-breaking or record-tying heat for tomorrow. That would bring those widespread 90s with that ridge of high pressure, and so that's what we're going to be eyeing for tomorrow, especially when you're talking about 91 degrees for Escondido, 90 degrees for Ramona, 93 degrees for El Cajon for tomorrow, also 83 degrees for downtown, and seeing some of those 80s popping up across the North County coastline. So as mentioned, this is definitely warmer than usual for this time of the year. 15 to 25 degrees above seasonal. What is average is 66 degrees west of the mountains. And in fact, for the North County coastline, it's actually 64. So we are definitely not going to be in that territory. We get closer to it by next week. When we look at your surf forecast, 1 to 3 feet, low risk of rip currents at our local beaches, water temperature at 62 degrees. Also worth noting is that UV index will be high. Make sure you're using a sunscreen if you're going to be outside for an extended period of time. Protect your skin and also stay nice and hydrated tomorrow. There is that ridge of high pressure that's going to be around. Now, the reason it becomes more amplified by tomorrow is because there's an area of low pressure that's over Canada. And so that has been acting like a blocking mechanism. It has basically been creating this big dip in the jet stream. We really haven't seen a lot of change with these features because we also still have this area of low pressure just towards the west of the ridge. That is over the Pacific. And that's also the reason we've seen some high clouds at times. Well, because we have this ridge in between those two systems, that is going to lead to the amplification. So that leads to the peak of the heat being tomorrow. But then we quickly back away from it. That's because the area of low pressure that is over the Pacific is going to move towards the east. As a result, it brings down temperatures. Westerly winds start to pick up a little bit more. That also extends that marine layer in towards the coast and the potential for some patchy fog. That will be on Saturday night through Sunday morning. Area of low pressure will also trigger westerly winds picking up, leading to the slip in temperatures that will continue all the way into the start of next week. Now, when we are talking about rain chances, we're not seeing a drastic one on Monday, but with that low being close by, that offers up a chance. And so as a result, we could see some patchy drizzle with a deepening of the marine layer, maybe even a few hundredths of an inch, maybe a trace. That would be on Monday, mainly talking about Sunday night through Monday morning that we could have some of that with some added cloud cover moving in as well. But we're not looking at a high chance, and that's why you're not going to see those raindrops added to your extended forecast. But just something I wanted to mention. Worth noting, it's not a area of low pressure that's really packing a punch. It will bring down our temperatures, but as far as rain concerns, not really a big concern there. And then we dry out even more as the low does exit. You have the 80s for tomorrow for the coast. So as mentioned, well above seasonal for this time of the year. You're back into the 70s over the weekend. You're back into those mid to upper 60s by the start of next week. You have the 90s for the inland valleys. That's going to be for tomorrow. You're back into the 80s over the weekend. You're back into the 70s by next week. That range is actually a little above seasonal for this time of the year. Remember, for the inland valleys, it's 66 as the average high. So getting away from the heat, but still a little warmer than usual, just by a hair. Then you have the mountains. You have 80 degrees, that's for tomorrow. You're back into the 60s for much of next week with onshore flow picking up, and 90-degree readings for the desert. Hold on into Sunday. You're back into the 80s by Monday of next week, but you're back into the 70s just by 1 degree, and that's going to be by Thursday of next week. I hope you have a great night, and thanks for tuning in.